This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Welcome back, everyone. So, quick order of business before we begin this video. You're going to see them because they pretty much infiltrated my B-roll the other day. But yes, I have adopted a litter of 5 kittens that were born in the auto shop across the alley. They are super sweet. I'll go ahead and introduce them now so you get to know them. We have Thelonious Monk. We call him Monk or Monkey. And then we have his little brother Milo, who was the runt of the litter, but he's grown faster than anyone else. There's also Georgia. We've also got Frida. And then, of course, there is Vinnie Van Gogh. So that is the crew. And yes, they are in all the B-roll. So you will see them throughout this video. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to some of your mail that was sent in today, though, because there's some really awesome projects that I'm super excited to share with you. So first up, we have this book, which comes to us from Stefan Nieslony. This is called Revealed What Caught My Eye. This book is absolutely gorgeous. And he covers a point in here that I want to talk about when we get into black and white images. And I think he very eloquently says that in his note here. So let me share this with you. He says, "Hello, Ted. A few years back, I was beginning to struggle with my photography, determining whether an image looks better in color or black and white. I recalled when at a workshop in 1997, Jay Dussard stated to me one of the most important decisions a photographer must make is what type of film to load into the camera. After this, I focused on black and white until I bought my first digital camera in 2005. When you did a review of the Leica M and Q2 monochrome cameras, it was eye-opening to me and set me on a path of exploring digital in black and white only. The subject matter that catches my eye is typically eclectic, but I am drawn to shadow and light, lines, texture, contrast, and mood. The work in this book was captured between November 2021 and December 2023, a deliberate 25 months. I successfully processed around 300 images that I was happy with. Members of our local photography community helped me to whittle this down to the 53 images that you see here and to provide feedback on my layout and sequence of images. I learned so much from this process and can attest to the power of having a great photographic community that pushes one another to pursue excellence." And he also included this lovely print. Stefan, the only thing that I want to say about this, man, you should be really proud of this. This book is excellent. It's well printed. It's beautifully designed. It's simple. It's clear. The images are paired well. It has a great flow to it. A couple things that I want to draw attention to, and he mentioned this in his letter here. First of all, the whole idea of like a monochrome. And I did do a video on that a while back, and I still hold true to all that. And I know that there's a lot of controversy. I saw the comments, and people don't understand, well, why would you buy a camera that only shoots in black and white when arguably you have more control over a color conversion to monochrome? And well, yes, that is true. One of the things for me that I found in the last 5 or 6 years is that when I'm in software, I like to eliminate options. What I mean by that is sometimes if you have an image and you're trying to decide, and he mentions this too, should it be color, should it be black and white? You've created 2 different options for yourself and you're going to edit it both ways. You'll create a copy, you'll do it that way. And then all of a sudden you're still waffling. And so you use one, you use the other, and you go back and forth. That's one thing I have never liked. And it's one thing that I don't work well with. I like to reduce options. And there's a great quote by William Eggleston a couple of years ago that I read. The quote's more than a couple of years ago. But one of the things that he mentioned is that when he was out photographing, he would never photograph a scene or a shot. He'd never take more than one exposure and he'd move on to the next. And when he was asked why, he said, I just don't like options when I'm going through slides. And I think there's so much truth to that. When you're shooting a monochrome camera, you are in black and white. It's going to affect how you think when you're taking the images. It's going to affect the types of images that you take. I think color arguably does the opposite. And they're both great, but I love that commitment to it. And I wanted to make that point. I'm really glad that he saw that in there. The second point that I want to make is that he mentioned reaching out to the local community to help kind of sequence this and stuff. And if you're going to commit to doing a book, sometimes it really does help to get opinions of those who you respect to give you input. I think sometimes as photographers, I'm going to speak for myself here, I get really close to my own work. It helps to step back, step away, but even then, having a good editor or a group of editors really helps sometimes. So man, this came out great. You should be really proud of this. Thank you for sharing. All right, so next up is this fairly impressive anthology that comes to us from Cassandra Bromfield. This is called Lindsay Park Basketball Tournaments 2012 through 2024, and she included a nice card and a note, which I will read to you. She says, "Good day, Mr. Forbes. In my community, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York, the Big Park has been host to whatever city parks hosts. This includes Lindsay Park basketball tournaments. I began taking photographs of Old Timers Day in 2012. I've lived here since 1964, so I'm a bona fide old timer. This included the basketball tournaments, so in 2024, I decided to make a book, and after I got over talking myself in and out and in and out and in and out back into doing it, I did it with the help of a good friend and book coach. This book is almost 300 pages. A method to this madness was to show the progression of me, the games, the community. Anyway, if it makes it to mail time, I am forever grateful. If it makes it to a shelf, I'm forever grateful. So thanks for being here, Cassandra. And she says this book is available on Amazon or from her website. So Cassandra, I think this is a lovely idea. I think it's very beautiful, and I'm really impressed how you stuck with this over the years for a very long time and how you actually got this out. It is very long. And, I think it all depends on the intended audience. And I think that if you're making this for people who have been involved in these basketball tournaments, I think you've done a beautiful job. And in that case, I would make it really long. I think to somebody who doesn't know what this is, this could be a little bit overwhelming. You probably already know that. A couple little things that I'll point out. I do love your layout. The only thing I would be careful with is sometimes, and I don't know, we've been shooting this thing long enough since 2012, sometimes there's a resolution drop on some of your images, and that kind of stands out to me. And I know that with 300, this is an enormous amount of work to do. And so hats off to you for sticking this through. I mean, it really is impressive. I think it tells a great story, and I love that you have something that is very close to you that you've decided to put into a book and share. So excellent job. And you guys check her out. I'm going to link up to everybody in the show description below. So make sure you support your fellow colleagues. And thank you for sharing. Oh, and because she asked about it in the card, of course, it did make mail time, and it does go on a shelf. I save everything that is sent in. I don't throw away things. I don't get rid of them. And someday I'll show you guys in the back two rooms here. There are a lot of books and magazines that have stacked up over the years. We've done this for a while. So anyway, very cool. This is going to go in the archive. And I told you there were cats everywhere. All right, so I have some more zines that I want to show, and something special about all these is these were all done by students who have taken my zine workshop, and I wanted to share their work with you because I've been able to watch the process on this, and it's really inspiring to me, and I hope that you guys are inspired as well. But real quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor this week, who are the awesome folks over at Squarespace. How easy is it to build an amazing website in a matter of minutes? Squarespace has you covered. It's dead simple. Head over to Squarespace, hit get started. You can start by using Squarespace Blueprint AI and SEO tools, which will give you an impressive website in no time. Something unique because, you're not like other websites. Give your site a name. Next, you can build your homepage. We'll start with a few preset layouts just to get us going. Want to sell products like prints, books, maybe you make a zine? Well, you can feature those on your homepage. Create a few more sections if you want. Let's also give it a color palette. There's a whole bunch to choose from, and just get us started. We can change this all later. Next, let's select the typography choices. Welcome to your website. Everything is set up and it's all ready for you to customize. Squarespace is built on Fluid Engine, the next generation of website design. Select Edit, and Fluid Engine allows you to drag, place, and resize any element on the page. You can snap these to a grid, you can make them float on top of one another, you can freeform however you like. You can even preview and adjust how the site looks on either desktop or mobile. The layouts are independent. Of course, you'll want a portfolio for your work. Creating an image gallery is as easy as dropping a folder of images on your web browser. Once uploaded, you can drag to resort, customize the look, and Squarespace writes all of the code for you. Everything just works and it looks fabulous. Want to sell your own prints, books, or zines? Flexible payments allow you to make the checkout process absolutely seamless when you sell products or services. You can accept credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, and in eligible countries, you can offer customers the option to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. You should try Squarespace for yourself. It's absolutely free, no credit card required. Just go to squarespace.com/AOP, sign up for that free trial. If you decide Squarespace is right for you, I can save you an additional 10% on your order by using offer code AOP on checkout. That's right, the code is AOP. So stop procrastinating, go build your website today. And I want to give a special shout out and thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Okay, so next up is this beautiful piece, which comes to us from Raun Lohry. And Raun took my zine workshop this summer, as I mentioned, and it's been really cool to see the finished products of these. When we do the zine workshop, everybody does a project during the month that we meet. And so a lot of it is like scaling back and selecting images and then talking about layout and design and how to actually get into the CMYK, get these printed. And I think Raun did an outstanding job on here, and it's really exciting for me to see things that are just on screen when we do the class, but then when they send me a physical copy, copy, I can get a sense of where they're coming from, and this is really fun. So I'm going to share just a little of Raun's note with you, and I'll show you the zine here. He writes, "Dear Ted, I love photography, and I have since I was a teenager, loading film and producing prints in the basement darkroom. Enclosed is the zine on the Badlands infrared project that we worked on during the workshop. I took note of Nicole's comment that the first iteration left her wanting more, so I added a few more images to the final, and I think the pacing works with a pause and a crescendo. Your opinion is valued. The zine is a new way for me to share what I love with others. I am finishing up a project on ghost towns, so I will be putting that into a zine when all the images are in. Many thanks to you for all that you do, Raun." So Raun, this came out great, man. I think the colors reproduced really well in here. I hope that you're really happy with this. The infrared stuff is very cool, and he's got a great style when doing that, and I don't think it's overdone. I think it's just really beautiful. A couple notes, because I've already shared all this with Raun because we did a workshop this summer, but he has a lot of panoramic images, so we went with a landscape format for the zine. I think it worked out great, and just being able to do things like not putting important information in the quote-unquote gutter or this fold in here, and also I think that the asymmetry here kind of adds a little bit of lift to it too. We also talk about the idea of pacing in these. I think this is paced extremely well, and I love having the full bleed panorama in the middle that's in black and white. This came out great, and it's interesting too because I've really only seen these images on Zoom when people share them and stuff, so being able to get the detail and stuff that's in here is really awesome. Raun, you should be very happy with this, and I can't wait to see the Ghost Town zine. So thank you for sending. I've got another one that I want to share with you. This is also from this summer. This is from Steve Borghardt. This is called Kings Park, and this is a really cool zine as well. Steve writes, "Hi Ted, the subject of this book is Kings Park, a psychiatric hospital that opened on Long Island back in 1885 and closed in 1996. Of the 100 or so buildings that were part of the complex, only about 30 remain. Upon entering the complex, I felt a mix of melancholy and awe. A few of the structures are still standing 10 or more stories high and have been abandoned for close to 30 years. I want to stress that I did not enter any of the buildings. The interior shots you see were done without a tripod, looking through a broken window, and in some cases I used a piece of broken glass or a pebble to prop up the camera. The first shot on the inside cover is crooked because of this. It also is the only shot that I took where there's no graffiti or vandalism present. Even the original doorknobs and fixtures remain." So Steve, this came out really well. The other thing he told me in the letter, and I remember we were going through this, he was using PowerPoint just to move images around and actually just adjust things. And he ended up just converting his images, dropping that into a PDF and getting it printed. And I think it came out exceptionally well. And it shows that you don't have to use fancy, expensive software to get a good layout and good design. Man, you paced this really well. This was a fun project to work on. Steve didn't note it so much in his note here, but he had a personal connection to the location and, you know, being geographically close to his home and the fact that he used to do a lot of urban exploration and treats this with a lot of respect. I think the images are very cool. They're very appropriate. They're very haunting and ghost-like. And man, this came out really good. I hope you're happy with this. I'll link up to all these people that I'm showing in the show description, so make sure you check out Steve. Very cool. Okay, and last but certainly not least are two zines that come to us from Marijke Wittmann. And Marijke took my zine workshop as well, and I saw her the other day and I've already given her some feedback, but I wanted to share these with you guys. So this is the one that she did in the class. It's called Urbanites, and she does have a note here, and it says, "Dear Ted, please find enclosed my zine. It is immensely satisfying to hold the printed copy in my hands, and the whole process was fun and a true educational experience. I was immediately inspired to start the next zine. This time I am thinking of square format, but still a soft cover. When the time comes, I will share it with you. Working title, The Beat." I think the color reproduction really came out well here. She did an excellent job with this, and so did the printer. The other thing worth noting on here is that, and I talk a lot about this when we do zine workshops, is that a lot of times when photographers blend black and white, or they mix black and white and color images, you have to remember that, you know, a project like this is going to be printed on one printer, and it's going to be a color printer, and there's no going back. In fact, black and white has a lot of flexibility if you've got a big budget and all that, but most people don't. And so there are some things that we talked about in prepping files here, because what can happen is if there's any color information in your black and white file, it'll start firing the ink cartridges that have the colors in them, and you end up with a color cast. So sometimes black and white includes kind of a gross purple or sometimes a nasty green. These don't. They came out extremely well. They are true black and white images, and I think you did a fantastic job on this. I hope you were excited about it. We did a lot of playing around with design. There's some quotes in here. She just did a really nice job, I think. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and share with with you because she said she was already thinking about the second. Well, guess what? She included it when she sent this. So this is called The Beat, and I will read you a little of her note on this one. It says, Dear Ted, please find herewith my second project. After the Urbanites, this time a different form and layout, but still with your teachings firmly in mind. I have no commercial purpose. These are things mainly for my own pleasure and some of my nearest and dearest. So The Beat is quite quirky. It's a little collection of mostly macro images of items that she has that have significance in her life, mainly drummers and clock devices. So pocket watches and grandfather clocks. This is a really cool project. And I think this kind of thing, we talked about this a lot, is that a lot of times, you know, the definition of what is a zine, there's a blurry line between what is a zine and what is a photo book. And it is a blurry line, and a lot of times you have people that will make a zine and it ends up being more of a portfolio. And I think what defines a zine for me, at least, is when it comes down to concept. And when you have something that's just a little collection of things that mean something to you, I think that's great material for a zine. I love the text that's in here. The typography's good. And again, very well printed. Another thing that I'll note is that she kind of changed things up. Urbanites was done. This is stapled, and the cover weight is the same as the interior pages. For this, she went a little bit different. She did something that's perfect bound, which means it's glued on the side and formed. And then the cover weight is a different paper stock than the interior pages. And it gives it kind of a little professional feel to it, and it's really nice. Marijke, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing. And thanks for everybody who did zine workshops with us this summer. We did have a lot of fun, and I will share more projects from those as they come in. This is my favorite part, when you get to see the final results of everything and the inspiration that people have to do further projects. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, later.